Hello and welcome to the Change of Plans podcast. I'm Anaita Azizi, and this is a podcast where we talk about unexpected turns, bold moves, and what happens when life doesn't go according to plan. Each episode I sit down with people who've changed careers, taken risks, or completely redefined what success looks to them. We talk about the messy middles, the lessons learned, and why sometimes the best things happen when the plan falls apart. So whether you're in the middle of a pivot, thinking about making a change, or just here for the stories, welcome, and let's get into it. My guest today is Maria Ledentsova, a marketer, community builder, and someone who's figured out how to make the internet work for her, not the other way around. Maria started out in musicology and somewhere along the way found her way into digital marketing, content strategy, and community building. She's also a Notion ambassador and organizes Notion meetups in Berlin, where she brings curious minds together around tools, workflows, and creative systems. In this episode, we talk about her career changes, building an online presence, and go deep into something that sounds easy but rarely is: personal branding. What even is it? Who needs it? And how do you show up online in a way that actually feels like you? If you're trying to figure out how to post, show up, or build something that reflects who you are, this one is for you. I hope you enjoy it. Interesting. It's like a field recorder.
Yeah, it's Zoom. So it's typical for recording with mics.
Okay.
And I'm using H4, which is not that advanced. You can only have two mics, and usually podcasters do H6, which is more expensive, but you can have four mics. But I'm like, if I'm having four people, I'm booking a studio. I'm not carrying all the setup.
Yeah. Crazy. But four people, have you ever done an episode with somebody?
I've done on my previous podcast, but I booked Pirate Studio at Schönhauserallee. I don't know if they're still there. But the idea was like, you check in yourself. No one is there. You do the setup yourself. And they have, I don't know how I call it, but like remote thing, which is not this, like completely separate. It's a cool experience to sit in a studio. But yeah, it was interesting also to keep up interview with three people and making sure that each of them involved.
My
So, yeah. Have you?
No, I've never. Only two maximum, I would say, yeah. As far as I know. As far as I remember. I only did 10 episodes, so it's not that hard to remember.
I don't know, like sometimes it takes me forever to do 2 episodes. Sometimes I can do 5 episodes in a week. Like I have this week, I only have you. Next week, I have 4 different recordings. And I'm super excited. I also pre-interviewed all of them.
Wow.
But I'm already a bit drained.
It's you have to be super social too. I feel like to do a podcast because it's a lot of talking and active listening, and it definitely can drain you, but it's really fun and rewarding as well. So
Can I just ask you to speak into the mic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And
so maybe I can.
You do
how
this.
This.
How it's convenient for you, but basically,
maybe I can turn it like this because if I watch you, I'm like,
do that.
Okay, so that is better.
This is perfect.
Okay, this sounds
great.
better. Good.
Awesome. And since you brought up the podcast, and what did you say last?
Sorry.
What did you say last? I really want to ask you
We're
something.
talking about being social and hosting a podcast that it drains you, but it's a very rewarding experience.
Yeah,
well.
is it?
No?
I don't know. Do you get a lot of feedback on your podcast?
I mean, social in terms of you have to talk to people and you have to engage with in a conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
Not in terms of you get a lot of feedback. I think also I didn't get that much feedback. No, I get like a comment or two here and there on the YouTube video mostly.
Can we get comments?
No, only one or two. And I think it's just a lot of work to promote the podcast. That's the challenge.
True. Like, agree. I'm always super pumped and super hyped after interviews and pre-interviews and posting. But as soon as I post and there are crickets back at you,
Yeah.
I'm very much like, why am I doing this?
it's not the most motivating if there is no feedback at all. But yeah, the more you kind of create promotional materials for it and use the content that like of the conversation in the content you post, like so post about what we talked about, post about what you talked about with guests. The more you do that, the more feedback I think you'll get. Kind of the like only 1%, 0.1% listen to the full episode probably, and that's a fact. I think we just have to accept it. I think, I don't know.
Since we're on the topic of podcast right away, I'm just gonna go with my section. What actually made you? You have your podcast. It's called Marketing Mondays with Maria, which stellar name. Love a good alliteration moment. What made you start it?
I was thinking about how I can post content that is more valuable to the audience, and I thought there are only so many things that I can teach my audience because I only know so much, right? So the next logical step for me would be to involve other people and ask them questions and let them teach as well, and give them the platform to do so. So I started this podcast. It's like a bi-weekly podcast. Now I'm on a break, rethinking the strategy and kind of how the season 2 will look. But I think it was an interesting experience. So basically, I wanted to ask them questions about pain points that marketers face because it's a marketing podcast. I asked them a few questions about very specific topics, which are marketing pain points, like, for example, creating content or tracking experiments and stuff like that. And created a lot of content from that as well. So like a blog post and carousels and lots more. But yeah, I'm still kind of thinking still a lot, like new to this whole podcasting thing. I don't even have like a proper setup like yourself.
I can tell you everything about it.
Perfect. So I am right now kind of in this phase of rethinking how can I make the podcast, the season 2 of it, more social first so that people actually it reaches more people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And has podcasting so far helped your professional visibility, or did you get more opportunities through podcasting?
I feel like to the outside world, it does look kind of, I don't know, maybe you could say even impressive that someone like that you would start a podcast even. Like, I feel like podcasters, like it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of motivation, it takes a lot of grit to start one, to host a podcast, to organize all of it, to create the branding. It's just a huge project. So I think to the outsiders, like people who see that I have a podcast, I think it makes a good impression. So for my personal brand, I think it's a good thing. But also, in general, I think it's a fun project to do. So I was just like, it's fun. I enjoy talking to people. I want to learn. So it's an opportunity for me to learn, and for my audience hopefully to learn something if I promote it enough.
Yes, for me personally so far it helped, or like there were 2 moments where it came up. Once there was a client, I freelance, so they reached out like, oh, we also seen you do the podcast, but we do need finance management. And I'm like, fair.
Okay.
It's great. Let's do finance management. And I recently done an interview, and there was a question in the interview for a job interview where, do you have any projects besides your job that you're passionate about? And I'm like, thank God I have the podcast. I don't know what I would have to come up on the spot.
Gosh. Any projects you're passionate about outside of work? Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, my life. I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to... You also do videos, right?
Yes.
How long does it take you to produce end-to-end episode? I recently posted on LinkedIn so that it takes me around 10, 12 hours from reaching out to a guest, from first contact to publishing and promoting. 10 to 12 hours, maybe more. Maybe I'm being very modest here.
Yeah, it's actually even more for me. So I would say I tried tracking it in the beginning a little bit, and it was about like 20, 25 actually. So I would do it on the weekend. I would do it, in the evenings, especially like a few days before the launch. I would procrastinate a lot and just like edit the whole Sunday beforehand or something and then post it. So I hope for season 2, I'll get my shit together and actually split it up into like more manageable sections and then do it throughout the weeks. But I would say 20 to sometimes maybe 25 hours. It depends on how long you also spoke to the person beforehand, how many questions they had, if you had a pre-qualifying whatever call, if you decided on a topic with them or alone, if you needed to do research for that. I know looked me up and needed to research a little bit, so it's also takes some time. And then the editing for me, of course, video editing and audio editing takes ages. So it's not a project for the light-hearted. I don't know how to say that, but
it was my first podcast. It took me when I just started in 2020. No AI, nothing. You do very manual everything, manual research, manual designs, manual editing.
Yeah,
took me 8 to 10 hours just to edit the episode.
Yeah.
Now it takes me 2 hours. But also I'm using now another program I can tell you later if you want. That really helps me with audio editing and making it sound really nice. It can also cut out like filler words and noises, but I just don't trust it enough to do that. Are there any instruments you enjoy using?
Like tools to edit the podcast?
Edit, publish, design?
Yeah, design. I record with Riverside. Riverside is like a podcasting tool. I guess it's made for that. And I like it, but also I don't trust it enough to do the editing in the tool. Like it also suggests you can cut every like pause and breath, and but then it sounds very like, I don't know how to explain that. Very like artificial, not very calm. Like it sounds more hectic, much more hectic, and I feel like I don't like this this vibe to my podcast. I want it to sound quite like calming, hopefully. So I do the editing myself. I started with Premiere Pro, and now I do Final Cut and CapCut typically.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, the video really does make it a bit harder, especially also doing the snippets, like for social media. That takes me quite a bit of time. If you want to actually do them like nicely, like zoom in on the person speaking and then zoom out. And
my brother uses a program. We also recorded an episode with him. He has a podcast for much longer than I do. And there's an AI that cuts reels for you. And whatever he posts looks really nice.
Okay.
He pays for it, but I pay. At this point, I'm paying for the tools. I don't care if it's less work for me.
Yeah, time is money as well. So,
exactly. Yeah, video, it was also something I really wanted to do for this podcast, but also I'm the one woman running it. And I was like, I cannot teach myself video editing on top of everything. So I decided to kind of push this idea. But I also know, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, video content is so much more pushed by the algorithms. Even on Spotify, if your podcast has audio, it's like Spotify will automatically push it for the listeners, where it's not going to do for audio content. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I host my podcast on Acast. I think it's called Acast, a tool which doesn't let me upload videos. I also was trying to even upload the video on Spotify, but I would need to change the hosting provider.
Really?
And I was like, it's a bit too much work for me.
I seem to be able to. I just don't have a video. And
I would need to log into Spotify, but I cannot do that because I am logged in through this Acast thing. I have yet to figure out if I want to dive into this whole topic or not. And for video, I think people just want to see the people behind the voices as well. And it really helps kind of digest the content as well if you have the video. I know some people, though, that go on walks and they prefer listening to the podcast and not having any visual information. I think where the video really helps is, promoting the episode, because people might just see a snippet and then listen to it in their audio, like as an audio file. Am I close enough to the mic?
Yeah, I'm just checking the levels.
Yeah. Is it looking okay? Or
it looks really good. Also, I'm going to fix it in post-production, so it's all
okay.
Good. Great. So we just jumped directly into podcasting, but I also wanted to talk to you about about your actual experiences.
found you through LinkedIn actually as a marketing person, but during the pre-interview you told me that you actually studied musicology, right? And then you got into marketing.
Yes.
Could you tell me again this whole story of your career path?
Sure. So, I mean, originally I come from Russia and I moved to Berlin when I was 13. I was very kind of musically brought up, so I was playing piano and violin and just singing in choirs and doing just a lot of musical things. And I was never the type of person who knew what they're going to do professionally. Like, it was never something that was clear in my mind, like, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer. I wish, but it was not my fate.
Well, I wanted to study politics. Look where it got me.
I think still, even though I didn't have a clear plan, it brought me to where I am today. It brought you where you are today. So it somehow worked out. It always works out somehow, thankfully. But so after school, I was like, I have no clue what I should do. People were going on gap years, but if you're an immigrant, you there is no chance.
What a joke.
I have a visa. Like, I'm not going on a gap year. No one's going to let me stay in Germany if I do that. So I was researching my options. I applied to study opera. It didn't work, but also thankfully it didn't. And then I decided to study musicology, which is like music theory, influence of music on the brain. You do like many different things, but it's more theoretical, basically, about music and theory. And so I studied that. I did my bachelor's. And then again, the question was, what the hell am I going to do next? I was working part-time at different startups in Berlin, Art Night, for example, eNote, and in various departments as a working student. And that's when I kind of got first in touch with marketing, the marketing department. And I was like, wow, they're always so creative. They're running around. They're doing like photo shoots. It sounds so fun.
That was way before TikTok.
That was before TikTok. But Instagram, I guess they still had to do Instagram content, which looks fun, stressful, and fun at the same time. But it looked creative. And I was like, I feel like I have a creative side to me because of music. And I also kind of have, I would say, a little bit of an analytical side. I feel like my creative side is a bit stronger. But why not kind of learn more about this marketing thing? So I started a YouTube channel. I started learning WordPress.
Wow.
I took some courses. I mean, my YouTube channel right now is dead, but
still.
I just wanted to learn it basically and learn talking to the camera and stuff. So I did that, did some certificates, and then I thought, okay, should I apply to marketing jobs now, full time? Who will hire me without like a degree in it?
Have you tried though, applying without a degree?
I think I applied to like 2 jobs or something, and I was like, they just always write like, we need you to have formal education in business. And I was like, I don't know, probably I don't have a chance, but I had some experience because I started working part-time in marketing. So my YouTube channel was enough for that, apparently. My YouTube channel and WordPress website was enough for me to get a job in marketing as a working student for a music app. There was a connection, kind of music and marketing, so that was kind of helpful. And then, I decided, okay, I'm going to try formal education. I'm going to do a master's in marketing. And that was only possible in the UK or Ireland. So I went to Ireland because
Germany doesn't have marketing masters?
It has some, I think in German, private universities do. Non-private ones, they want you to have a business bachelor's. So I would have to catch up or like do some modules, additional courses.
That's why how much criticized, but still I do like American education system. You study whatever and then you can continue study something else, whatever.
Yeah, that makes so much sense to me because during your bachelor's, which is like 4 years, you can change your life, whole life can change, your interests can change.
I remember the best economics teacher I've had. She's amazing. She's great. The only reason I actually studied economics probably took the emphasis. She studied music for her bachelor's, violin.
Yeah.
And then she randomly got into one economics session, like lecture. She really liked it. Like, no, I'm going to do my master's in economics. And she did. And she's the best in her field.
That's so cool. Wow, yeah, that can happen. Like, you don't know what you don't know, right? So maybe you have never heard about a topic before, and then you are confronted with it, and then you're like, wow, this could be my life. And then you don't have a choice probably immigrate to somewhere else and do your education there, or find a job that will hire you where you can learn from your colleagues and stuff about the topic, I guess. Maybe there are other ways, sure, YouTube and stuff. But
actually pre-interviewed someone yesterday who also did masters in Ireland for marketing.
Oh, really?
And he was like, wow, such a coincidence because I'm talking to Maria tomorrow.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm very glad I did that. My master's, I mean, it was just a cool experience to move to another country again and to, I was able to move with my boyfriend, so that was also nice. I wasn't alone in this adventure. So I did my master's and I started my job as my first full-time job as a founding marketer at Magier, where I am now, and where I am also kind of, since then I'm starting to, I started taking my personal brand more seriously, and LinkedIn as well, which leads us to today and you finding me. That was a very long.
Thank you so much for giving me such a bridge into the next section. section.
That was a very long way there, but we arrived.
I didn't have to come up with a bridge. Great. So yeah, personal branding gets thrown around a lot today. Would you explain me what it actually means to me and my listeners?
Oh my gosh, what is personal branding? I think it is a way to communicate externally what you stand for, what you are an expert in, and what people can come to you for as well, I would say. I have never thought about this, so this is a good opportunity.
That's on the spot.
That's a good opportunity for me to think about it. What do you want to be known for as a person? Kind of, you have to think about it to yourself first, and then kind of think about how can you communicate that to the outside world. And your personal brand can be on multiple channels. It can be, of course, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, any other social media channel. It can also be maybe even a blog, I don't know, or events. But I think it helps to have one kind of platform initially where people just know, okay, Maria is super active on LinkedIn. That's where I can find the latest kind of information about her and what she's about.
When you started developing your personal branding, did you have a moment like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and brainstorm who am I, what am I known for, or some kind of exercise that you've done that you really liked and you would advise to do?
That's a cool topic. What do you write about if you are new to this whole personal branding LinkedIn thing? For me, when I started posting my first post, it was at the end of my master's. So I was just wrapping up and preparing for my first full-time role and applying. So everyone at uni also was mentioning, oh, LinkedIn is so important for getting a job. And I was like, okay, makes sense. So I had, again, this what do I write about? And I think the easiest way to start is to document. So you think to yourself, what are some things I am learning right now? Probably you are on a daily, you're learning audio editing, you're learning podcasting, you're learning how to export things in Excel. I don't know. It could be anything. Every single one of us is learning something in their day-to-day life. And so you can start by just writing about that and writing about, for example, also tools you're using and thinking about how to educate people, how to bring value to people in your network. So I think educating is the easiest thing to do. Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest misconception people have about personal branding?
That you have to... Let me think about that, actually. But I think my first instinct is to say that personal branding is not only for people who have it all figured out. You know, you don't have to be... I don't have to be the perfect marketer. I don't have to write as this professional that knows everything. I think people connect much more with you if you show that you don't have it all figured out, that you're also learning. That's why I like this approach of documenting what you're learning and talking about your mistakes, your just thoughts about the industry, anything, things you don't understand. You can also talk about that. And I think it makes you more approachable. It makes you more likable, and it makes people connect with you, which is the most important thing. I guess you have to think about your goals with a personal brand. For me, it's mostly about connecting with other people and engaging with them. So, yeah.
What's one branding move that worked really well for you and the one that didn't?
What's the one move?
The one branding move, or like something you've done that worked really well and then something you've done that didn't.
What worked really well? What worked really well is sharing. Okay, what worked really well for me when being on this personal branding journey is sharing free resources. So whenever I learn to do something, for example,
you can cough in the mic. It's fine. I'll fix it.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I'm making you do more work. So what worked really well for me during my personal branding journey is sharing free resources. So and how you can do that too is whenever you learn to do something or you create a template for yourself or a guide or anything like for you to do the task, you can also prepare kind of a PDF or something to share with others so they get something out of it as well. So that has worked really well. People appreciate them seeing, or people appreciate you sharing anything that helps you in your day-to-day life. Of course, what the tips I'm sharing right now, it's kind of helpful for if you want to reach people that are kind of similar to you and that actually have similar problems to you, because I am writing content for marketers, right? If you are writing content for accountants, you want to reach accountants and connect with accountants through your personal brand, you need a different strategy. Maybe like you need to maybe do a podcast to interview people about accounting that can help other people, so I think if I'm a marketing expert, I write about marketing. If I am a marketing expert, but I write about accounting, I need to bring external people in to help me provide value to the audience. So that's kind of one thing. But yeah, still one thing that works is sharing resources that help you.
Exactly how we met, actually.
Yeah.
You posted that you have Notion, to-do list to grow your LinkedIn. And you asked people to comment under the post. They commented, you sent it to me. And I was like, wait, she's actually quite cool, and text her.
That's how it works. Well, that makes me really happy. Thank you.
What's something that didn't? Like, there was an episode where you actually spoke with someone about the personal branding on LinkedIn, and you guys were talking about memes. And the person, sorry, I don't remember her name. She also was really cool. She said, like, sometimes it can work for a brand to post memes, sometimes it cannot. I personally love when people post memes and jokes and being all like ironic on LinkedIn and not 100% serious.
Yeah.
That's a follow instant for me.
Yeah. I like memes. I used to share them also on my channel. Sometimes I do. Like, for example, I announced there is this like trend going around right now on Instagram and I think just online of you starting a sentence with "probably needed a hug." Like you say, probably needed a hug, but went to the gym, like because I hate myself. Or I don't know. I don't know, anything like that. And so I started I use kind of some elements of trends or some elements of memes in my content when it fits. So for example, I announced my next Notion for Marketers event that I'm organizing by starting like probably needed a hug, but I decided to organize another event, So I kind of try to incorporate some of this language and trends in my content, but I just noticed that when I was posting a lot of memes, sometimes like they didn't really bring much. Like people may laugh a little, they may laugh a little bit, they may find you more like connect with you a little bit through humor, but it's not super easy to create memes that are actually like feel like you and aren't super generic and that people will remember you and connect with you through them, So I don't know. I feel like people see memes, they scroll through and they don't remember who posted it. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm incorrect, but I decided to post more about like story content, like lessons I've learned, educational content. I feel like it gives more to the audience. But I also like meme pages. I follow them and I appreciate them because we need some fun in our lives. Maybe I'm just not the most funny person.
Hi, Anaita here. If you're still listening, chances are you are actually enjoying this episode, which honestly I love this for us. Today I have a very special offer. For the very, very low price of free, you can subscribe, comment, and rate this podcast. Jokes aside,
this would mean the world to me and help Change of Plans reach more people. But I do actually have a special offer, which you can find in the description and in the end of the episode, so make sure to stick around and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I don't post that much on LinkedIn yet, and I feel like each time I post, it's as big for me as posting an episode. And so I recently shared a post about, is podcasting worth it? Purely because I was inspired by that episode, and for me it was so difficult to write short, just something short. I know no one's gonna read your essay on LinkedIn, and so that surprisingly was challenging for me. But you've clearly mastered LinkedIn, so maybe you could tell me what makes it different from other platforms.
Actually, like initially I started on LinkedIn, like, because of course it's an important platform to get a job, can be, and also because back in the days when I started like a year and a half ago, it wasn't as video heavy. And while I like video editing and I enjoy it, I like Instagram.
I don't.
You don't?
Like video editing.
Yeah. I like it, but it just takes a lot of time. I would have done it. Yeah, exactly. So you can sit on like a 3-minute video for 2 hours and then it gets 5 likes or something, and then you get discouraged. So I was like, what is the easiest platform I can not start with, but like be consistent on? And that is not video based. I don't know, the world is becoming more video focused, and that's totally fine. I'm learning and I'm posting more videos from time to time. But it was easier to start on LinkedIn, and I think it's still easier to start on LinkedIn because you can do text-only posts, or you can do text and like a picture, and it will perform well if you have the right people in your network that will engage with your content, and also if the content is very valuable or engaging, like a hot take or a story or a lesson that people can relate to. Yeah.
I had a question and I forgot. No, I talked about videos. Yeah, that everything is heavily video right now. It made me think about threads. Which I love being on them because it makes me feel like it's internet back in 2015. Exactly, because I can just read. Yeah. And I've noticed a lot of people started, maybe it's just in Russian-speaking bubble, but a lot of people, they make sure they post consistently and grow their network on threads, which I didn't even consider. But recently I've seen, like, I came across some photographers which were like, I'm looking for someone to photo shoot, or if you're looking for headshots. And that's how I found them, which is interesting because I would never consider, I always thought it would be Instagram. Yeah. Oh.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, Threads is an interesting platform. I mean, I also see videos posted on Threads, which honestly, I'm a marketer. I should try to understand this, but like, why are we mixing the platforms? Every platform is doing a similar thing. TikTok videos perform really well on Instagram, for example. Like, a lot of marketers use a strategy. If it performs on TikTok, it will perform probably on Instagram. So they first create on TikTok, qualify the video kind of, and then post it on Instagram. Interesting. I mean, the platforms are slightly different, right? TikTok is more casual, I would say, and Instagram is a bit more polished. And then now Threads is also, you can also cross-post videos from Instagram to Threads. I don't know, everything is merging together. LinkedIn adds video. Yeah. Where is this heading? I'm also interested to see where this is heading.
There was a marketing agency or PR agency in Kazakhstan that I follow. They came from activist circle, and kind of when they stopped doing activism, they started doing PR.
Yeah.
Which I find very interesting. But the thing is, I find expert opinions from our countries always to be way more ahead of a time rather than in Europe. Because it's like regarding the design or marketing or video strategies, TikTok, I always will look towards Central Asia and Eastern European creators rather than Western creators. And they said they noticed that when you post the same content on TikTok and on Instagram, TikTok will bring you a lot of engagement, but it will be very random engagement. Like, these people will not stay. Like, it could be internationally. They're not in your city. Like, they will not use your services. Whether Instagram will bring you less engagement, but it will be very targeted engagement for you.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I do notice, I think there was this one interesting occurrence, I think it was like a year ago, where a TikTok influencer announced that she is going to be at this event at Creator Summit or something, and that people can meet her at this Creator Summit. And she had like 1 million followers, or like lots and lots of hundreds of thousands of followers. So she was expecting people to come, and then no one came. And I think that was kind of the moment where people started to kind of think about, okay, is TikTok a good platform for like virality and, you know, people engaging with your videos, but not connecting with you in a way, because there are so many creators you don't follow, you just scroll, and For You page is where you spend most of your time. Typically, most people, I would say, you don't go to the profile of the person. I think Instagram in that way works a bit differently, that you do follow the person and you go to their profiles, and that's why it's a little bit more polished, a little bit more aesthetic. So I feel like people connect with Instagram creators more, maybe. Maybe that's why also TikTok and Instagram, like people have both accounts on both. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I'm sorry for that influencer that no one came. That must have been horrible.
Yeah, back to LinkedIn though.
Yeah, sorry.
So you post quite consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, how do you decide what's worth sharing, worth posting, and what stays offline?
I have no boundaries. So recently I posted about working out. I
loved it, by the way.
Yeah?
It's also
Thank
one
you.
of the problems I have on LinkedIn. I read so much cool content and I relate, but then I don't know what to comment.
Yeah.
I know that one of the things you also have to comment a lot there. And I saw your post about workout. I had exactly the same story. I had like a horrible burnout, going into depression, and then I just hired a personal trainer from Kazakhstan and we're doing it online.
That's so cool.
The best thing I've done for my mental health.
Wow.
And exactly everything you wrote about, maybe you can say it now. I went through the same thing. And I was like, damn, that was so smart, but also so brave of her to post it on LinkedIn, where everything is so polished and everybody's so professional.
Yeah. Thanks
And I
so
really
much.
salute you for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's also a reminder that's why I think AI content really, you have to be really careful not to overly rely on it, because I had a phase where I was kind of relying on ChatGPT to give me ideas for content and stuff. And then I noticed my content started performing much, much worse. And that was because it wasn't coming from a place that is me and that is actually engaging and authentic. And when I started posting stories from my actual life, like me, you know, the post was about how I was, 6 months ago or 7 months ago, I started working out after like 3-4 years of not working out at all. And that was kind of, I had this turning point of like going up the stairs and feeling out of breath at 25. And I was like, something has to change. So my friend, my very good friend Marek, he is very into Pilates. He was working out every day. And so one day he just asked me, do you want to come with me? And then I said yes. And I tried it and it was hard, but it was like really exciting. I discovered muscles I didn't have. I discovered also kind of the spark and this competitive spark that I thought I didn't have. So after that day, I started working out almost every day, and I was super motivated to get fit, and I'm still super motivated like 6 months later. And I think it was just a crazy turn of events.
6 months, so
7 months. Yeah, August, September.
That's also when I started.
Yeah, okay, congrats.
Got my first push-up yesterday.
Oh,
like
wow.
proper strict push-up.
Congrats. That's a huge milestone. Yeah, wow, look at you. So strong. Look at those muscles. Yeah, no, it's super rewarding. I just also found if you feel stronger in your body, you feel healthier, you feel more energized. I think all companies should encourage their employees to do sports, because it has increased my productivity 100%. I feel happier and I feel, more alive than ever.
Yeah, it's very disappointing that working out and eating healthy actually helps you.
Yeah,
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Why didn't they tell me earlier?
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't they tell us? They were keeping the secret from us. Content that comes from good places.
You already mentioned that one of the strategies, or like one of the tools you have for LinkedIn, is being helpful and providing the helpful material. But how do you balance being helpful and being performative on LinkedIn, especially when everyone is building brand in public?
Being helpful and being informative.
Performative.
Performative. So like knowing that you're being observed and posting and meeting expectations of people online of your account.
Yeah. How do you get over this cringe mountain?
Cringe mountain.
Which you clearly did.
You get over the cringe mountain by posting about things you would actually read yourself, I think.
Great advice.
I think I have this checklist that really helped me in the beginning when I started, because before this job, before end of my master's, I didn't write on LinkedIn really much at all. I don't think I posted anything, maybe just job announcements. And I always thought LinkedIn is super cringe. One time I had to write a post once for my previous job for LinkedIn, and it was sounded super corporate, and I really fought through it, but it took me ages to write, and I couldn't come up with any words because I was this doesn't sound like anything I would say in a conversation. So how do you get over the cringe mountain? Basically, I had a checklist to start with that I came up with myself, and also from, of course, things I read online about LinkedIn as a topic. And it has lots of steps. One step is you just draft a LinkedIn post, and then you read the first line of what you wrote. And then you ask yourself, would I stop in the feed, scrolling through the feed on LinkedIn, would I stop to read this post? If not, if it's just yesterday I went to the supermarket, probably people will not stop to read this. You just have to ask yourself, would they or would they not? If not, you have to come up with a better first line, because the first hook kind of is super important. Then second, I read the whole post out loud to myself. And then I notice things like me talking in the LinkedIn. Someone called this Linkedinese, kind of the way you write on LinkedIn. Kind of, I think it's super funny.
It's a customer service voice.
Yeah, customer service voice. Maybe. Yeah, it's so glad you reached out to me today.
I think
how can I help you?
Have customer service voice.
Customer service.
As soon as I switched to Russian, I dropped 2 octaves.
Yeah. Actually, my Russian voice sounds also a bit different.
Deeper.
More, deeper and more annoyed.
Also, fun fact, me and Maria, we haven't spoken a word of Russian to each other.
Yeah.
Also, it happens to me when I meet someone in English-speaking space. We know both who speak Russian. There was literally once a moment at also a meetup, oh, you speak Russian? Yeah, me too. And we just stared at each other. We could not take off the mask of English, and we could not. We just went back to English.
Yeah. No, it's such a cringe moment of going from English to Russian. I don't know why it feels like a huge change. So I also typically stay in English. But then I am why am I doing this? It's our mother language. We should be comfortable speaking Russian. I'm disappointed in myself when I don't switch to Russian.
I think that's exactly why. What we discussed.
Yeah.
I left Kazakhstan when I was 18. That's where my development of the language stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm 18 in Russian.
Yeah.
I'm 28 in English.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I guess I'm 13 in Russian, so that's why I don't open my mouth anymore. It will be so cringe. Only teenage slang coming out of me. But, yeah, so... about the LinkedIn topic, I think I read the post out loud, and then you notice things that you wouldn't have noticed if you just write it and post it. You really notice that you don't sound like yourself. You sound like someone who has a stick up their arse. So you have to write as you speak, and so that's a point where I would edit a lot, kind of. I would read it and I was okay, if I would not have said it to a friend, to you, if I were to read this post to you and I would feel cringe, it's not good enough, I needed to sound like me. I needed to sound like me giving advice to a friend. That's how I would I think even doing this would already improve 50% of LinkedIn content online. If people would just write as they speak and as they would say it to a friend.
So the vibe I'm getting, when you post on LinkedIn, you should pretend that it is 2011 Instagram.
Yes.
Kind of, that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, on Instagram I would just post, oh, it's snowing outside. I don't know. So, but I guess it's more like you're writing to a pen pal about trying to help them with a problem. that they have, that they wrote you about. Maybe that is a good alternative thought.
Are there any specific formats or content type that have helped you build trust rather than engagement? And I know you mentioned carousels, you mentioned videos, you mentioned just text posts. How would you
building trust?
prioritize?
Building trust. I think it also depends on what your goals are with LinkedIn. For me, it's just like, making myself known as a marketer and as a Notion ambassador, just like telling people what I'm about and what interests me and engaging with others. For some people, it might be like, if you're a freelancer, it might be getting clients. And then, of course, building trust is a very important topic, because you want people to trust you so that they want to work with you later on, and that they trust also that you can do the job that you say you can do. For trust, I would say, of course, sharing like stories of your clients. If you're, we're talking right now about like someone wanting to get clients from LinkedIn, or are we talking about trust in general of people?
Also, kind of what happened to me. You're not the only person posting about marketing, right? But somehow I got hooked on you. Like I feel like she's sincere, and I really liked her tone, and so I felt like, I trust her, and I like this kind of trust.
Yeah. But then I guess this, again, writing as you speak is important, because people read it and then they connect with you more, and it's easier to connect when you read something you understand and that sounds like a person speaking and not ChatGPT. And second, I think for me, really videos are a big factor. I used to share a lot of also like screen share videos. So like, like me sharing my screen and showing, this is how I record videos for LinkedIn. This is how I write a LinkedIn post. This is how you can do the same. This is a tool I just found out today about, and I wanted to share how to use it. That's what I
have the bandwidth for that. How do you have the bandwidth in your head for that? Like that much, so much work on top of your regular work.
Yeah, you have to make it easy for yourself. That's why screen shares, like, it just worked for me because it's easier. Like, the threshold to start is easier than setting up a tripod with a huge camera, and then connecting it to my laptop and then putting in the SD card into my, that already sounds like a lot of work, but clicking on a button and starting to share my screen was very low threshold. And I found for myself that, of course, still some days I don't feel like it, like being on camera and stuff, but I found that this is a way I can share quickly enough. So I do it,
You post very regularly, I think daily, maybe several times a day. How do you keep up with content when you are just not in the mood to be visible, not in the mood to post? Do you post straight, or do you take a step back? Do you schedule your content?
I think in those moments I would take a step back. There are some days where I don't post as well. Or when I'm on vacation, sometimes I don't force it. I don't schedule even. Sometimes I'm like, okay, people are probably no one is going to notice if you skipped a day or two.
Algorithms will.
Huh? Algorithms will. If it's one day or two, no. Even the algorithm will be blind to that, I think. It's not, as long as it's a regular-ish cadence of like, I don't know, once a week or even like once every 2 weeks. I think once a week is ideally the minimum if you want to grow, but once a week or something. I wouldn't force it. If you don't have anything to say, I'd rather not say it. Like, but if I have something to talk about, to share, I have my kind of weekly themes of content that I write about. So marketing, educational kind of tips, tutorials, free resources, and some like story time. And if you have themes, it kind of already helps you a lot to come up with content regularly. Or it helps me at least, and I know it helps a few people I talk to. But if I am not feeling it that day, either I have something scheduled or I don't post. Yeah.
You've mentioned already that you post a lot of educational content, and I've mentioned that I struggle to post in short content.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about foundational marketing, how do you translate these principles into short form content without oversimplifying it?
When I talk about marketing advice, you mean how do I make it short and snappy, or
more like, well, I guess there's a lot to say, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're a professional in your field. Like someone yesterday texted me about podcasting. They were like, I have a couple of questions. I wrote them an essay on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask me, I won't stop
Yeah.
If I'm talking about something I'm really proficient in.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine something like this happens when you post educational content on marketing.
Yeah. I guess the best advice I heard about this is, you have to make it kind of more digestible. It's like for short form videos, also lots of times people say like the biggest advice is making one point in the video, like just one per video, not 5, not 10, because it's overwhelming and people will tune out, So you have to think about the audience. What kind of brain space are they in? Probably they don't have the capacity to understand 10 new topics, learn about 10 new topics. They have the capacity to understand this is one tool you can try right now, and this is where you can click to try it out. That maybe they can have the capacity for, but I would kind of assume that people don't have the capacity to learn too many things at once. So the tip there, I guess, would be to just break it up. If you have a post, you wrote a post and you see it's 10 points, try to break it into 10 posts, which you have a lot more content then. So it's a benefit also for you. You can make it serious. Yeah, that's a point.
Nice. Before going into quickfire and like wrapping up reflections, you mentioned already that you're a Notion ambassador and you're running Notion events in Berlin, and you're the first Notion ambassador I'm met in person.
I hope I didn't disappoint.
No, I'm very impressed. Also looking forward for the May event because I missed the last one. But could you tell me more about this experience, how you became Notion ambassador? What does it entail in title?
What does it entail?
Yeah, what does it entail?
Of course. Anything else you would like to know?
No. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So I mentioned that I started a YouTube channel when I was, before my master's, before I applied for my master's, I started a YouTube channel and I made videos about Notion because Notion helped me get through my bachelor's, write my bachelor's thesis. I was organizing everything in Notion. I also am a sucker for productivity and for like habit tracking and stuff like that, and organizing. Like
I never got into Notion.
Yes.
I mean, granted, I found out about it in 2020, 21. A friend showed me and I was very hyped for it.
Yeah.
And then I tried every single tool and then I just did nothing. This podcast right now is organized through Notion, but it's also very like basic. I can show you like this is a episode pipeline I have.
Oh, that's really nice.
Some like stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, you even added a cover image.
Yeah, I did it. Someone posted a video how to organize it and I basically took whatever I liked. But yeah, I kind of never got into it, so I'm very impressed by people who did.
Yeah, I'm happy to show you around and give you some inspiration for how you can use it, but this already looks amazing. And it's also how I started learning about Notion. I just watched tutorials, I tried copying what will work for me maybe, and then downloading templates, duplicating templates, and then cleaning them up by like deleting the sections I don't need and then adding the ones that I might need. And that's how you learn, and that's kind of how I got into it. And I think how people can learn Notion is by trying to organize maybe a passion project like a podcast first in there, because it really helps me and my brain having everything in one place. So that's why I like Notion so much. I really don't know how I would function without it because I live by my calendar and by my Notion kind of pages like that have all of the events I'm organizing, all of the tasks associated with the event. For podcasts also I have everything in Notion I can show you. But I started making YouTube videos about Notion because it really helped me get through university. And what was the topic again? Sorry. Got into Notion.
Did they reach out to you?
Again. Yes, exactly. So I did some videos, and to become a Notion ambassador, there are a few ways how you can become one. So you do have to apply typically, and you can either like create content around Notion on any platform of your choice, like YouTube, or some people write, I don't know, Substack or LinkedIn, anything. Or you can host community meetups. You don't have to be an ambassador for that. You can just gather people together to talk about Notion. And then, maybe take a picture or so that people know that you have done it and share it online. And if you organize some of those, that's also a really good way to engage the community. And maybe third one is, so events, content, templates. I think those are like a lot of people are template creators first. They create a lot of templates for the template gallery to share with others. And that is also another way to become a Notion ambassador if you want to apply for the program. So you have to be very passionate about it. You have to create something around Notion, be it community, be it templates, be it content. And you can apply, just explain why you want to join, why you want to contribute, and engage with the community more of ambassadors as well. And then you might get into the program. And I applied like this. I got in. And what Notion gives you is basically they support you if you want to organize events in the name of Notion, like community events like I'm doing. They also connect you, of course, with other ambassadors. So you have like a Slack channel where you can chat with other ambassadors. Some of them are like, bigger YouTubers or like very cool people. Like Notion ambassadors are the best, some of the best people I've ever met, like super wholesome, motivated, ambitious, kind, supportive. So super cool to be part of that. And you can meet some of the Notion team members, learn about launches ahead of time. So you can create content as well if you want.
I see.
Yeah, so it's been really cool to be a part of that and so wholesome.
Great. Yeah. Nice. So I usually do some concluding questions for everybody, whether it's like I ask for something favorite resource or book, but I have 4 questions for you, more like quick fire. So let's try. One marketing miss. You can drink your coffee, it's fine.
Thank you.
I can pour.
I just have my throat.
But we have really nice coffee here.
Yeah, it's a coffee machine size. My throat just feels a bit dry. Give me a second. Perfect.
Great. One marketing myth you want to bust forever.
Marketing myth that you need to niche down because you can be the niche. Like you don't have to be only write about marketing, like B2B marketing. You can write about you being a B2B marketer. Like it's already also kind of a niche, but people always say you need to be so much more specific. Niche down, niche down. I think it's okay if you show some personality and show that you're the person behind it.
That's cool advice. One person who influenced how you think about marketing.
One person that influenced how I think about marketing. I guess that would be one of my managers at the previous job that I had. I was writing a lot of blog post content, and back in the days, I was trying to sound like I tried to write a blog as I thought I should be writing a blog, basically, without thinking about the audience really that much. Like, what are some tactics to write a good blog post? But I didn't really connect with, there will be an actual person reading this and they need to get value out of it, which this like shift to value, shift to imagine reading this blog post. Would you like it? Kind of, he helped me take that step and see the content from the audience's perspective and not write how I think I would write it just for the sake of writing a blog post, It doesn't make sense. So I would kind of, there are different tactics to write a blog post. I would just follow them, the tactics to write a blog post, but I didn't make the connection that an actual person is reading that blog post later and they need to get some value out of it and they need to learn something new. Like it's better to write in simple terms with this goal in mind that they will learn something new and get value out of it, and don't just follow advice of like how to write a blog post. Just like think it's easy if you think about it.
And
like
finding like your own voice rather than what is being told to you.
Yeah, just don't overcomplicate it. A blog post is just a piece of information to help another person get to their goal or get to understanding what they want to learn about. You're just helping them with the content. So I was overcomplicating it a lot, and he helped me make them better.
Nice.
The question I really like, I asked almost everybody. One thing you'd go back and tell pre-marketing career, Maria? Because they also mentioned that you didn't know who you want to be when you grew up, kind of thing. But now you seem very content in where you are.
I guess I would say, yeah, it always works out in the end. Even if you feel lost. Oh, I have a good one. Over the past year, I've been reflecting a lot on my journey and how I came here. And I think I've had one of the happiest years of my life, which is a huge thing to say. I think I had a lot of years also where I was confused and lost. So this past year has been one of the best of my life. And one thing I think I did that I didn't do before is following my excitement. And so throughout my kind of life, there are some things that you get excited about. You hear about it and you get really excited, but then you don't act on it. Like you hear about bouldering and you're like, oh, that could be interesting. But then you never do anything about it because you're like, oh, but why would I do that? I'm not a sporty person. The one thing I changed over the past year is whenever I get that feeling of, oh, I could enjoy that. Maybe I would enjoy it. I just go for it. Like I have to book something. I need to try it out. So that's also kind of how I got into a lot of different sports by just like, oh, maybe I would enjoy it. Calisthenics sounds cool. Previously, like in the past years, I wouldn't have done anything. I would be like, oh no, oops.
You're good.
I would overthink it a lot. And now whenever I feel that spark, which is also how I started hosting these Notion for Marketers events, I was like, maybe I would enjoy it. I feel like this idea of hosting an event lights me up a bit.
Okay, and it's so wholesome.
Yeah, it's very wholesome, but it lights me up. And then I just tried it once and I was right. I really like it and it gives me energy. And so following your excitement, I would say, is the most important thing in life, and that will lead you to where you need to be.
That's a beautiful way to wrap up this episode. Honestly, this podcast, I don't know what it's going to do to my career because each guest gives me some kind of insight into their life and I'm like, I should change my life. I should do something different.
Everything has to change. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing this time, sharing the space with me. I really enjoyed it and I hope you did too.
Yeah, I did. Thank you so much. You're a fantastic host. It was super easy to talk to you and you ask fantastic questions. So it was my pleasure.
My pleasure too. And that's a wrap on my conversation with Maria Ledentsova. I loved how grounded and practical Maria is when she talks about personal branding. It's not about playing a game. It's about showing up with clarity and consistency and a bit of fun. If you want to stay in the loop with what she's building and thinking about, follow her on LinkedIn. And don't miss her podcast, Marketing Mondays with Maria, where she shares bite-sized insights on everything from audience research to content strategy. As always, I'm also taking on freelance work. If you need support with financial management, public funding, podcasting, operations, and public speaking, I'm just a message away. And if you find me through this episode, you get a discount because good things should come from good conversations. Thanks for listening to Change of Plans. I'm your host, Anaita Azizi. Catch you next time.